Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This will most likely be my last video until Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, so happy early Christmas guys. Enjoy it and spend the most amount of time with your family that you can. Now, as we take a look at the National Weather Service here, these are all the watches and warnings that are up right now. Anywhere in this red is a blizzard warning, believe it or not, that stretches from all the way into central Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, northeastern Nebraska, all the way into eastern parts of North and South Dakota. You have winter storm warnings in the pink that stretch across all of Minnesota except the extreme southeastern parts of Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. And then anywhere in this blue is a winter storm advisory. Anywhere in the Great Lakes, you are in a winter storm watch, and then due to the lake effects now. And then anywhere in this green is a flood watch because you could have 2 to 3 inches of rainfall and you have 2 feet of snow possibly on the ground. That is going to be massive flooding upstate, and anywhere in West Virginia, Kentucky, even into parts of North Carolina and Tennessee, you have winter storm watches up for you. And in this orange color, you have high wind warnings that stretch from all the way from South Dakota into Nebraska and Kansas. You even have, I believe this is a freeze warning. If I am correct, let me check if that's true. It's actually a red flag warning, believe it or not. So you have a red flag warning due to the high winds, I'm guessing. And then finally, anywhere in this color right here, this like gray orange, it's hard to tell. That is a high wind watch over there. And oh, I'm sorry, this last one, Iowa through Kansas and all the way down to Texas, is a high wind advisory. So anywhere over here could see 60-mile-per-hour gusts, and anywhere in this, I guess you could say, brown, gray color, this is a 50-mile-an-hour gust range over here. So it's going to be more intense winds over here in the eastern coast than it is in Iowa. Now, if we take a look at our models here, this is what it shows right now, the HRRR, and it's pretty much on par with the weather radar. The HRRR is a really good model, and it's almost accurately predicted winter storm gale. Now, as you can see, there is not as much snow as we thought it would be right now, so that is cutting down totals a bit, but there is a bunch of cold air right now, and I'll be draining down south, so any rain that tries to fill in, it will quickly change over to snow as the day goes on. If we continue to the next slides, you can see that the snow starts to fill in due to the strengthening of the system here. It is in southeastern Minnesota. The rain and snow line is very tight here due to the quick and tight gradient of the low pressure system, and it's pretty much all snow back here except a few pockets of mixed precipitation in Minnesota. In northwestern Iowa, you are starting to get into the thick of it, and into parts of Nebraska, it's starting to end. Now, if you move on to 5 p.m. Today, you can see that the storm is already into almost central Wisconsin here on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. You can see that the heavy snow is in northwest parts of Wisconsin and central Minnesota here. Don't forget, you still are snowing in Iowa and northern parts of Iowa, but on the western side is starting to end pretty quick due to the dry air starting to mix in due to the Arctic air. And then by 10 p.m. tonight, you are starting to see still snowy conditions in parts of eastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin, but anywhere else you're starting to taper off, and in parts of southern, central, and western parts of Minnesota, it is pretty much done for you already. And then by, let's see here, 1 a.m. it's starting to taper off, but it's still snowing in northeastern Minnesota and a little bit of Wisconsin. But by 4 a.m. it should pretty much be all done. It could still be flaking around here, but that's pretty much it. But the total snowfall forecast from the HRRR, this is pretty much the 1-inch rain right here. That stretches all the way down into northeastern parts of Nebraska. That stretches all the way back up into the UP of Michigan. And then this is your 4+ inch range right here. This is your 4+ inch range right here. Anywhere in this purplish color. There's few pockets of 4 inches in Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota. But anywhere else, that's pretty much your 1 to 3 inch line, and then this is your 4 to 8 inch right here. Now, If we take a quick look at the NAM, you can see that it's almost similar with that, except maybe it shifts for the inch range a little more south and west. But then again, you still have a massive snow totals for parts of Minnesota and northwest Wisconsin. And then you have this little pocket that stretches from all the way into northwestern Iowa into almost central South Dakota and into northern parts of Nebraska. That's your little pockets that could be due to banding, and then your 1 to 3 inch range is all the way from here, from all the way into southern parts of North Dakota and all the way into the UP of Michigan here. And then that's pretty much it from the NAM, at least for the Midwest. Now, if we take a look for the eastern part of the U.S., as of right now, it's 4 a.m. It is all rain because you still have your front coming down and it still hasn't mixed with the cold air yet. But as time goes on, you can see that the rain starts to change over the snow in parts of Ohio and even into parts of Kentucky here. And then as you make it to nighttime when there's no sun out, you have almost all snow in Ohio, and you're starting to change over in western parts of Pennsylvania, and West Virginia is almost all snow by this time. Now, if we continue here, you can see that western Pennsylvania starts to get into the thick of it, but the storm is already starting to move away by 1 a.m., and by 5 a.m.-ish, 7 a.m.-ish, you just have lake effect snow that will be going on and on and on through western Pennsylvania, southeastern New York, and northwestern Ohio. This could increase your totals by a couple inches, maybe several inches, depending how long the snow sets up for. This is your snowfall around 4 a.m. here. You can see by the lakes you only have around 6-7 inches, but as time goes on due to the lake effect snow, you could get close to a foot, if not higher to a foot. The NAM wants to give out 1 to 3 inches from almost central Ohio all the way into Kentucky, down into Tennessee, all of West Virginia, western parts of Virginia, and back into western parts of Pennsylvania, maybe stretching into central parts of Pennsylvania. Now, if we take a quick look at my weather forecast here, let's take a quick look at the radar here. You can see that there is dry slots right here in Minnesota, but that should all fill in because the low pressure system is right by Rochester, Minnesota, and by the time it makes its way up to the northwestern parts of Wisconsin, this all should tighten up and should be higher totals here by the end of tonight. But now, if we take a quick look at my snowfall map, you can see it's pretty in par with the HRRR because I truly believe this model is a pretty good model. After seeing what it has done with Winterstorm Gale, you have Codington inch stretching from all the way into northwestern Minnesota, all the way down into Nebraska, Iowa, and into the UP of Michigan. 1 to 3 inches from the border of South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa, all the way back up into Minnesota and Wisconsin. And your jackpot here is going to be from Minnesota all the way down into northwestern Wisconsin. The only changes I made was extending that 4 to 8 inches more south and all the totals a little more south, but that's pretty much it. I left the totals as it was. I don't really see the totals getting over a foot, besides on the lakes due to lake effect snow. But that's pretty much it for the Midwest. And if we take a quick look to the eastern part of the U.S., you can see in the red again, that's lake effect snow. That could top you over a foot of snow depending how intense the snow is and how cold it is. Like, let's say it's 32 degrees, you only will get like maybe an 8 to 1 inch ratio. But if it's 26 degrees, it'll probably go up to 10 to maybe even 12 inch ratio. That will pick up your totals a lot there. Anywhere in this light blue is Codington inch that stretches from all the way to New York into Tennessee. Your 1 to 3 stretches from Tennessee again to western parts of Pennsylvania and almost all of eastern Ohio and almost all of West Virginia. And then your 4 to 8 range stretches from eastern Ohio, West Virginia, and Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania. I hope everybody has a great Christmas. Enjoy time with your family. This could be a little bit while until you see your family again, so take all the time you want to see your time with your family and tell them how much you love them. Thank you guys for watching and have a great Christmas.